Welcome everyone! So this video is going to show you how to do the flavor texture profile activity. So what you're going to do is you're going to gather the following materials. You're going to need 4 small bowls for the 4 flavors that you're going to be trying and combining. You're going to need something sweet. I'm going to use honey, but you could use sugar, maple syrup, agave, anything like that that is sweet. You're going to need something sour. You can use vinegar. If you don't have vinegar, you can also use lemon or lime. You're also going to need something salty. Any kind of table salt that you have is totally fine. And the last flavor you're going to need is something kind of oily or fatty. So I'm going to use olive oil. You can also use melted unsalted butter. Make sure it's unsalted so that it doesn't get confused with the salty flavor. You could also use something like tahini if you have that. So those are the flavors that you need. And you also need something to dip into those flavors. So you can have cut up vegetables like cucumber, carrot, bell pepper, jicama, or green beans, anything that is a vegetable you could dip in. Other options are to have different kinds of crackers, wheat thins, Triscuits, anything like that, or even something like a tortilla chip. So again, make sure that for this activity, you have your 4 small bowls for your different dipping sauces, your 4 different dipping flavors, something salty, something sweet, something sour, and something a little fatty. And then you also want to make sure you have whatever it is you're going to dip into those flavors. And then the last thing you want to make sure you have is that chart that we talked about in class that has the different columns of the different things you're kind of testing out and experimenting with. Now that we have gathered all of our materials, we are going to start this activity. So step 1 is going to be to fill your 4 small bowls with the flavors that we are going to try out. So, in the first bowl, let's put something salty. And we don't need very much salt because a little bit goes a long way. So just a little in the bottom of the bowl. In the second bowl, we'll put something oily. So for me, I'm using olive oil. You could use tahini or unsalted melted butter. If you're using unsalted butter, you can simply melt it in the microwave. Just a little bit again. In the third bowl, let's do something sweet. I will be using honey, but again, you could use sugar or maple syrup or agave. Just a little bit will go a long way. And last but not least, we need something sour. I will probably use vinegar, and again, just a little bit. You can also very carefully and with adult supervision cut up and juice a lemon, or cut up and juice a lime, or use bottled lime or lemon juice. Now that we have our 4 flavors, salty, fatty, sweet, and sour, we can start dipping our dipping materials into those flavors and writing down on our flavor and texture profile chart what we think of each option. So, this activity is really an opportunity for you to discover the flavors that you like best. There are absolutely no right or wrong answers. This is an activity of discovery. You are being flavor discovery scientists going on a mission to determine what you like best. So what I want you to do is for every single flavor, start off with just one, pick a food you're going to dip into it, and write it down. I think for the first one, I will do cucumbers. Write cucumber under dipping food. If you are using a fruit or a vegetable that must be sliced up, please have a parent or an adult help you with that so that we're staying safe. The second thing you're going to do is choose your first dipping flavor and write it down. I think I'm going to start over here on the right and do my sour flavor. So I'm going to write sour, and I'm also going to write what I use. So vinegar. Make sure when you write your flavor, not only do you put the flavor like sour, sweet, salty, or fatty, but write what it is that you used. Now, this is the fun part. We get to start trying. So I will take my cucumber, I will dip it into my vinegar, and then by itself, I'm going to try it. Now I'm going to write down, what did I think about that? Did I like it? Personally, I did. I'm going to write yes. Now, this part is very important. Think very carefully, and you can even pull up that chart from the lesson about the words we can use to describe flavors and textures, and I want you to use a really good describing word for flavor. I thought that was a bit tart. That's the word I will use. And now I'm going to think of the texture. Because of that cucumber, that was really crunchy. That is my texture describing word. Remember, there are lots of example flavor and texture describing words in that chart that is provided for this lesson. I think this time I'm going to try the sweet one, the honey. I really like that cucumber. I'm kind of curious what cucumber plus honey will taste like. So I'm going to try cucumber again. And now my dipping flavor is sweet, and I'm using honey. So, same thing. I'm going to take my cucumber, I'm going to dip it into the honey, and I'm going to try it. Whoa. Now it's a little weird, but that is surprisingly delicious. I was not expecting to like cucumbers dipped in honey, but I think it's awesome. So my describing word, what do I want to say? I mean, it's definitely sweet, but I think that there was something more complex. Oh, I know. I'm going to use the word floral, which means to me that for some reason reminded me of flowers, of really sweet smelling flowers. All right, and then my texture word. The honey is so sticky. So actually, that's the word I'm going to go with. Sticky. That was the texture that was most noticeable to me. I'm going to do one more, and then I think you guys will have the idea. Before you start combining flavors, make sure that you try every single flavor by itself, ideally with some different dipping foods. So maybe next I would do my tortilla chips dipped in salt, and then maybe I'd try my Triscuits dipped in the olive oil. Once I've tried all 4 flavors, the salty, the oily, the sweet, and the vinegar by themselves, then I'm going to start combining flavors. So for my last example for you guys, I'm going to show you a combining option. I'm going to try my tortilla chips. And I think I'm going to combine olive oil, which is my fatty flavor, with the salt. So again, here I'm going to write tortilla chip. And my 2 flavors are going to be fatty, which is the olive oil, plus salty, which is the salt. Okay? So, step 1, I think if I were to dip this chip into the salt first, nothing would stick on it. So I'm going to dip it into the olive oil and then into the salt. You guys see that? It's kind of salty, and let's see it. To be honest, I did not like it. Too salty. That's the only flavor that I tasted. It was very overpowering. That was pretty crunchy, but I'm trying to think of a better one since I've already used the word crunchy. Let's see, what else can I come up with? It was kind of crumbly in my mouth. So with this activity, after you have tried all 4 flavors by themselves, and then you've tried any combination that seems interesting to you, and feel free to use more than one page. You don't just have to do 5 options or 5 or 6 like I have here. You could do 20. You could do them until you use up every single last drop of the ingredients in your bowls. But once you feel like you are done, at the bottom, and this is super important, in big letters, I want you to write your favorite flavor and texture combination. So from the 3 that I tried, I have to say my favorite. I was so surprised at how delicious that was. It was refreshing, it was floral, it felt kind of light and pretty healthy, and I really loved it. So I really hope you guys have a ton of fun with this activity, and I can't wait to hear the different combinations that you tried. We'll talk about it in the next class.